and they do come easy, and it's very little do, little lie. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, 'twas whiskey in the jar. If anyone can aid me, it's my brother in the army. And if I could learn a station in Cork or in Killarney, I know he'd come and join me. We go roving in Killarney, and I'll engage he'll treat me better than my darling sporting Jenny. And it's very little do, little lie. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, 'twas whiskey in the jar. Very little do, little lie. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, 'twas whiskey in the jar.
WRHU 88.7 on the FM dial and WRHU.org. You're listening to That's How I Spell Ireland, and I'm Kevin Wesley. We just heard Whiskey in the Jar, and that was from a CD called Our Bronx Irish Roots by the Cunningham Brothers. And I'm delighted to tell you that we're very, very fortunate to have Jimmy Cunningham with us in the studio this evening. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Thanks, Kevin. Great. Thanks so much for having me down here to the studio. My brother Joe's in Ireland, so he couldn't be with us today, but we really appreciate you having us on. And
sure, no problem, no problem. Is Joe there for business or pleasure? Or
his son graduated from University of Connecticut, and his oldest son told him that if you get a 4.0, I'll take the whole family to Ireland, and the kid got a 4.0.
No kidding.
Yeah,
wow.
So they went for a week. They're having a great time.
Mazel tov. That's great.
Pretty cool, yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great. So, are you American born, Jimmy?
Yeah, as the album cover says, Our Bronx Irish Roots. We're from the Bronx, New York. We're from Fordham and Webster, right by Fordham University, south of there. My dad was from the County Clare. My mother was from Leitrim. And my dad had an Irish band, the Joe Cunningham Orchestra. He played the Irish accordion. And as we were growing up as kids, on the inside of the album, you'll see pictures of Joey, like at 3 years old, with an accordion, the little black and white picture in there. And we started in Our Lady of Mercy in 1967 at the Knights of Shamrocks playing Irish music. And then my dad would bring the whole family up on stage to sing with them with his band. And he would have mostly Irish musicians. He'd have like Jackie Roach. I don't know if you remember Jackie Roach, the fiddle player, and Paulie Ryan. And then he would have us to play the American music. Whereas a lot of kids our age were learning button accordions and violins and playing Cayley music, he would have us learn the rock and roll because he could cover the Irish.
Yeah.
And then we would just back him up. So we were more of an American-Irish band than an Irish-American band.
And he played the piano accordion or button?
No, the button accordion.
Button accordion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that where you learned your music from your father?
Yeah, my dad was actually also a music teacher. He has a lot of famous students. One is Eileen Cronin, actually, learned accordion from my dad. And then I actually taught Eileen's kids the guitar when I got older and started playing proficiently enough. I used to go out and give lessons myself.
Yeah. Eileen constantly talks about her Bronx roots. Constantly. Yeah.
I owe her an accordion. One of these days I have to find an accordion for her. You'll interview her with her accordion album.
There you go. That's a good idea. Well, Luke O'Malley also, he plays the accordion and the piano. He's from the Bronx. Apparently, he lived either upstairs or downstairs from Eileen for a while. And but I had him on the program a long time ago. So, in full disclosure, I have to tell everyone that I first met the Cunningham Brothers out in the Hamptons hundreds of years ago.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, we started in Mullins up in East Durham. As little kids, we were dishwashers, then we were lifeguards, then my father's got us down to the bar playing with him, backing him up, and then as we got older, we were in the Tower View. I don't know if you remember the Tower View.
Sure, the old Tower View, Paprins, yeah.
Yeah, the O'Brien brothers had it, and it was a rocking place, and we got there just in time for the decline. We used to play there sometimes to 4 or 5 people when George Carr took it over. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
And then as that faded, we had such a rock and roll background from being from the Bronx that we would, as you heard, like whiskey in the jar, instead of having it as a two-step, we put it to a rock beat.
Right.
We had that kind of, the Hamptons wanted us out there because we could play rock and roll. And then once in a while they say, throw in a couple of Irish tunes, and all the Irish American kids like yourself used to come out and flock to the Hamptons, and it was a great time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad it's over, but it was a great time.
Yeah, the Cat Blue.
Yeah, that's right. Cat Blue on Dune Road.
Yep, on the Bayside.
And it had a bad fire, and then it fell into the bay.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the end of it.
Although I do remember when it was low tide there, it wasn't the best place in the world to be.
But nobody seemed to mind.
No, it was a great place. Great place. And across the street was, what was the name of that?
Neptunes and Summers.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of the Super Suds of Rhythm. They were out there, too. They were a great band.
Yeah.
Those were the days, boy, I tell you. And actually, a very good friend of mine who I just reconnected with a couple of years ago we'll call him the hospitality person. At that time, they used to call him the bouncer. John McInerney used to be a very good friend of mine. We grew up, hung out together in Woodside and Sunnyside.
Oh, so you never paid the cover to get in?
No, I never did. Although it was $2 at the time, so...
And my brother Joe married a girl from Woodside.
Did he really?
Yeah, St. Sebastian's over there. Debbie Plant there was a big family of them.
Yeah, those were the days, huh?
We met them in Long Beach. We used to play in Long Beach also.
Yeah. And you were on the Joe Franklin show, weren't you?
Yeah, that was our claim to fame. Jimmy Chapin, who was, you know who Harry Chapin was?
Sure, absolutely.
Harry Chapin was Cats in the Cradle and Taxi. His father, at that time, at the height of Harry's fame, was my father's drummer. So we grew up with having Harry Chapin's father as our drummer. If you look at one of those pictures in there, inside the collage there, you'll see him. And he was a great influence on us. Because at first we didn't sing. We would just play. Because back then all the Irish bands would just play the music. They wouldn't sing. And he encouraged us to sing. And Joey took it and ran with it. And Joey has a great voice. Joey,
sure.
He can sing
sure.
all night long.
Yeah. All right, you know what? Let's listen to another cut off of the CD. We're going to listen to a song called Red is the Rose, right here on Radio Hofstra University.
Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the barn. My love is fairer than any. Come over the hill, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hill to your darling. You choose the rose, love, and I will make a vow.
WRHU 88.7 on the FM dial and WRHU.org. You're listening to That's How I Spell Ireland. And I'm Kevin Wesley. We just heard Red is the Rose from the Cunningham Brothers Band and their CD called Our Bronx Irish Roots. So I'm always intrigued, Jimmy. How did you decide on what tracks you wanted to put on the CD when you were putting it together?
What happened was I was also a New York City fireman. I don't know if you know that. I was a fireman for 20 years. So when I retired, I had a lot of time to either play golf or in the wintertime I would have, I put in a little studio in my house with the Pro Tools program, which is great. And I just would pick songs that Joey and I always liked. And I would surprise Joey. I would email him like an arrangement like that of Red is the Rose. And then Joey would he put a great middle eight. If you ever listen to the song again, he changes the middle. He puts a great middle eight, like a Brian Wilson kind of change. And the song changes key. Like guys that played on came down and played, buddies of ours, like they said, "Oh, where's this song going?" It's slight, but it's really well done. So I picked most of these songs just to surprise Joe, and the arrangements I put on him was just to shock him. And then about a couple of months ago, I said, "Joey, I got enough songs for an album." He says, "What are you talking about?" I says, "You know those stuff I sent you?" I says, "It's ready to go." He said, because I would send him a track, like say Whiskey in a Jar. He would sing it in his house. And then he'd send it back to me with him and then a piano part. And it was just fun like that. That's how. And then we'd have guys over playing tin whistles and the Irish snare drum.
Right.
Blowing the place apart, but it was great. We had a lot of fun
that's
doing
great.
it.
It's amazing what you can do at home now these days, isn't it? Yeah.
Like one guy on that snare drum, he played on one of the tunes, and then his wife had a baby, and he couldn't come back. So I took the snare drum from one song, put on the other song, slowed it down. It sounds like he was playing it. It's amazing what you can do.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's incredible. That's incredible. Did you ever record any other CDs?
Yeah, the first album we made was back in 1978 called Colleens and Culprits. It was actually an LP, a record.
Yeah, right. A vinyl.
Vinyl.
You remember those.
Vinyl's coming back, actually, now. And we had no idea what we were doing. We thought we played it like we played live. Everything was super fast. And at the time, I gave it to one of my old Italian neighbors. And he said, "Jimmy, Tim Finnegan's Wake." And Tim Finnegan lived in Muckin. Like we played it live. And he said, "It's too fast. Something's wrong with the record. It's too fast." So I said, "Well, I'll give you another one, Paul." He goes, No, that's okay." So then we learned we had really good drummers later on that said, "You guys got to, slow it down, get into the groove and the tempo." So, and now with the click tracks and stuff like that, it actually keeps you in time too.
Explain what a click track is.
When you're recording, you pick out the time you want, how many beats per minute, say 135 beats per minute. Then you set the click track to that, so you hear click, 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 click. So it's always on time.
It's in your ear, but not on the recording.
Right.
Yeah.
And the drummer can hear it, and it keeps everything in time.
Yeah.
And then the second album was an album called This Side, That Side. My brother-in-law, Mike Ineson, he financed. That was a big project, because back then we went to RCA Studios. He laid out a lot of money for that. And a couple of good songs came out of that, too. My brother wrote a song called So Long Boys. That might be a play. Might use the whole play based on the song, which is great. And then I wrote a song called Brothers about the loss of a brother. And after I was in the fire department in 9/11, they had me do it at a couple of firemen's funerals. It's a really sad song. My wife's one of 12, and it's actually about her brother. When he died at the funeral, all the brothers hanging on to each other. Yeah. That's what the song's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple of good things came out, and this is I did this for fun when I retired, and there's a couple of good tunes, and it was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a nice mix here.
And it's easy listening, and we put it to Irish songs. Irish songs are great anyway. The melodies are great, and you really can't improve upon them. And you can't, like we did in the next song I think you might do is Homes at Donegal. We learned it as a waltz. It's great tune. So I slowed it down and I used every minor 6 chord and minor, like the Beatles used to use, trying to make it because it's kind of a really sad song. The guy's stopping in to see his people, and then he's leaving. So the next one you'll hear is slow and kind of sad. So that's what I wanted to project with that song.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Irish music. It's constantly evolving, You hear a song all the time, and then all of a sudden someone comes out and they put their own signature on it, There's a song that I came across recently by Christy Moore, Take Me Back to Mayo. And I've heard that song dozens of times.
Yeah, we do.
But I always heard it as a waltz.
Yeah.
Take me home to Mayo, across the Irish Sea, dee-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it's about a very sad story.
Yeah.
So Christy Moore recorded it, and he doesn't do it as a dirge, but he does it with a great deal of respect, and you're able to listen to the story as opposed to having that waltz melody get in the way,
Well, that's what I was trying to do with Homes of Donegal when you hear it. And I actually even put bongos on it, like little congas, just to give it that nice feel.
Yeah.
And then I loved the arrangement so much, it was that I put it on the very end as a reprise also, without the vocals, which is nice too. It's just a nice way to end.
It's a lovely song. It really is. All right, you know what? Let's give a listen to it then. We're going to listen to the Homes of Donegal from the Cunningham Brothers CD, Our Bronx Irish Roots, right here on Radio Hofstra University.
I just stepped in to see you all. I'll only stay a while. I want to hear how you're getting on. I want to see your smile. I am happy to be back again and greet you one and all. For there's no place else on earth just like the homes of Donegal. Oh, the time has come, and I must go. I bid you all farewell. The open highway calls me back to do the things I do. And when I'm traveling far away, I'll hear your voices call. Oh, please, God, I'll soon return unto the homes of Donegal. Oh, please, God, I'll soon return unto the homes of Donegal. The homes of Donegal.
WRHU 88.7 on the FM dial and WRHU.org. You're listening to That's How I Spell Ireland, and I'm Kevin Wesley. We just heard the Homes of Donegal from a CD by the Cunningham Brothers Band, and it's called Our Bronx Roots. I like that arrangement. That was very nice.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. There's no way you could actually screw that up doing it anyway. But
well, I'm sure you can, but
it's really, and it's a sad song too. It's a sad song, and I'm really happy the way it came out.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I liked the bongos in there. That was interesting.
It's a Bronx thing.
Yeah,
You're a Brooklyn guy. You've heard bongos in Williamsburg.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so very much for coming on to the program. Now, if anyone would like to get in touch with you, to hire you to do a wedding or whatever, how can they get in touch with you?
They can always, we have a website called cbrosband.com, CBROSBAND.com. You can always Google us now. That's the easiest way. You Google Cunningham Brothers Band, you can get us that way. We have email, cbro2 at AOL.com.
Great.
And the worst way is to call us.
Yeah, right.
Nobody picks up the phone anymore.
No one does.
No, I won't even give the phone number. Brides now, I deal with them all email. I don't talk to them to the day of the wedding. All of a sudden,
yeah.
I used to do 50 calls a day. Now it's amazing. So much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last time I saw you play was a couple of months ago at the Irish Center. That was a great night.
Yeah, that was a great night.
That was a wonderful night.
We had a Hamptons reunion night, and we mixed it with the Irish music.
Tom Kelly,
right?
He put together a little bit of a Hamptons reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a big success, and we're going to do it again this November.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was a fun night.
It was, and Pat is terrific, Pat Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's another retired FDNY guy.
Is he? Yeah.
So he's okay. He's a good dude. I told him he would have made a great 24 partner. He's a very conscientious guy.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. Well, that'll be great. Please let us know a month or so before. Maybe you come back on and let everyone know that you're going to be there.
Okay, and I'll leave your name at the door. Try to get you in, or you come in the back with us with the equipment.
There you go.
Carry something.
I'll be a roadie.
Carry something light.
Oh, it's got to be light. It's got to be light, yeah. But, no, that was a fun night. And I did run into a few people that I knew from the Hamptons. I said Tom Kelly, and I forget who the other guy was, but, yeah, that was a fun night.
Yeah, it was. They had a big crowd there, yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They had a huge crowd that night.
I remember playing there with my father's band back in the early 70s.
Really?
Yeah. And we did a wedding there, and we had to learn the song "Can't Find the Time to Tell You" by Orpheus.
Yeah, right.
And every time I walk in there, I think of us. We had to learn the song as little kids, and it's still a great song. It's another song.
Well, the funny thing about the Tower View Ballroom, I was doing a Kelly there. I forget what Irish organization was, and Martin Mulhare, in the middle of the first set, he grabs the box for his accordion. He starts putting his accordion in the box. And I said, Martin, where are you going? You know, after the dance was over, after the whatever dance we were doing, not the entire dance. And he said to me, Kevin, he said, I was watching the floor, and it separated 6 inches every time people jumped up and down, because everyone is moving in unison, hopefully,
right.
at a Kelly.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not going to be here when the building collapses.
Yeah, we did a gig for St. John's University at Terrace on the Park. And I don't know, you know how those buildings were built,
yeah,
but
sure.
when they had everybody rocking, the whole floor started going. The ceiling started coming down. The guys came running out, told us stop playing. It was like 1,000 people dancing in unison.
Exactly.
It wasn't good.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it never happened at the Tower View, but you never know. Jimmy, I'm going to do something which is pretty unfair, but I always ask my guests to play DJ and to pick either a song or a group that they would like me to play for them. Do you have any idea what you'd like me to play?
My all-time favorite group is the Beach Boys, and I love Brian Wilson. And when I was 8 years old, I was in my father's car, and he would never put on the radio because he thought it would hurt his gas mileage or hurt the car. I have no idea. But
That's
anyway,
great.
One day he had the radio on, and we were up in the Catskills, actually, a beautiful starry night, and Don't Worry Baby came on the radio, and a chemical just washed over my brain. I was 8 years old. I remember listening to it.
Wow.
Oh my God. And every time I hear it, I have the same feeling. It's great.
Okay. That's great. Normally I don't play non-Irish songs, but that's such a wonderful story. I'd be delighted to play it for you.
It has a Catskill origin.
I don't want you crying now, though, when I play it.
Okay.
Well, again, thank you very, very much for coming. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to listen to Don't Worry Baby by the Beach Boys right here on Radio Hofstra University.